it's Shapes, and there's a video that came out just now. The Anime Man put out, I watched the 100 worst rated anime, so you don't have to. And that got me very interested. I just have a lot of questions, just like, all 100? What are those 100? I'm not really familiar with this particular set of which ones they are. Because it's probably a lot of them are very like unknown, under the radar, completely no one gives a shit type of thing. Why is he doing this? And like, I guess which is kind of a Mr. Beast-ish type of challenge, I guess. But like, I don't know. It feels like he's done this sort of. I've talked about some of his videos, talking about like Mars of Destruction or whatever before. But he's just doing all of them, and it's a very long video. So I just don't. And I was just like, there's some of these that's got to be like whole series. Is he gonna watch all of them, or is he gonna sample some? Is he gonna like summarize some of this? Like, how much of this is gonna be summary or whatever? I don't know. I'm very interested to find out. So I wanted to record my reaction to it because I thought it might be interesting. We'll see. Yeah, the seizure warning, yeah. Because there's probably a lot of old OVAs.
The greatest anime ever made. Well, naturally, if you're a seasoned anime fan, your brain will start off with one.
Damn, 2002.
Personal favorite.
Hey!
You need to list off a bunch of other shows that may not necessarily be your star player, but
wow,
definitely.
This is that's surreal. It's like that is my all-time. What the fuck?
Some of you might be slightly stumped on that question, especially if you're
the editing's really really up energy. I think I really like the vibes here.
My own horn here or anything, but
who's edited? Is this? I don't know. Is Moon on this like when like Mimi with the horn and the trumpets and shit? It's cute.
And I think the best way to truly appreciate the good in anything.
Aw, 1 ounce. We have 1 ounce.
The terrible. So I decided to go.
Let's go. Yeah. So he didn't really give away any of the answer any of my questions. Really, it was just kind of what I was expecting. Pretty good 2-minute intro, but and really good energy. I just really like him being on a green screen and stuff. But I wonder how much that's going to factor in the actual going through these titles. Is he going to go through all 100 of them in this one video? I guess it's all in the execution is the questions I'm asking. I guess that makes sense.
Okay, before we begin our journey into anime hell, let's set some ground rules. Firstly, it's important to note that the order that I list and talk about these shows may not be in the exact same order as...
Isn't it the 100 bottom on Mal? I mean, he didn't really specify that. The worst 100 rated anime. I thought this is like according to Mal, obviously. What? Different from what? I don't know. If I was to do a video like this, I don't know if I would, because I imagine there's plenty of those in that 100 that I don't have anything to say, and they're like, yeah, it's bad or whatever. But it's more of like a feeling of numbness, and it's like there's nothing here, there's nothing to say or comment or like, whoa, that's crazy. Because that's kind of the thing we're doing this journey for, is the exploration and the discovery, which is why I'm actually kind of curious and excited about a video like this and willing to react to stuff like this, because the thing he was premising in the video too, where he's like, you exploring everything anime has to offer. I really like that.
Obviously, the more people who find these awful anime, the more people who are going to be leaving scores, and the internet sure isn't tired of the same old joke of giving crappy anime a 10 out of 10 score to mess up the legitimacy of the entire website, so...
Apologies.
That's true.
Some anime
that's fair.
This is the...
Okay, so I guess he's trying to like parse some of the... because you can't look at the mouse scores individually, how many people gave a 10 versus how many people gave it a 1, and you can probably sniff out those that are like, oh, this got inflated by a bunch of 10s. If it has any 9s or 8s, it's like, people might genuinely like it. I don't know how many people would give something an 8 ironically, right? Usually that's always given like the 10, right? So maybe he might be using that feature to suss those things out. I don't know. And does that mean that I think he's just giving this blanket rule of the subjective, right? Like, this is my opinion, or whatever. That's fair.
Unrated anime so forgotten that not a single person has taken the time to review them or rate them.
Not enough people. I don't know what Mal's aggregate is, like how many people need to have, like obviously people have made ratings, and there's bots too that have done stuff like this too. but it's true. A lot of them don't have fucking ratings, which don't count really. But maybe was the rule saying that it doesn't count the only reviewing them with a rating? Yeah, I agree. Like that's a fair play because otherwise you're kind of flying blind here.
So I decided that for now, I won't be touching these shows for this video because honestly, I could do a whole different...
Yeah, a particular dub of Kiki's Delivery Service? What? Why? Like, I get it, like, certain films, I don't know why they're bringing up, like, stuff that doesn't exist. Like, this was planned for this amount of episodes and it just didn't happen. Like Angel Beats here. I guess that's what he's referring to specifically, but I think the rule is supposed to talk about the completely obscure, unrated shit. Whatever. Also, how much hentai is going to be in here?
I personally hadn't heard of a majority of these. Most were very abstract and obscure one-shots like short films and OVAs and ONAs that made me question the psychology of Japanese anime people, but alas...
I ventured into the...
I wonder what that one is.
Anyway. Also,
cool.
There's going to be a handful of
That's
shows.
what those titles that he just mentioned are the ones I'm interested in. I don't really give a shit if I'm talking about not even just Mars of Destruction, fucking what is it? Skelter Heaven? Yeah. Because he's already talked about Skelter Heaven and shit. Maybe he's gonna bring that up, but he's like, I'm not really gonna cover the stuff I've already covered. Like maybe he'll talk about Pupa for a bit. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, Pupa, whatever. But except like expected, and obviously School Days is on the thumbnail, but I kind of do want to know those obscure shit. And if Midori's going to be on here. I don't know if Midori's in the bottom 100.
A little 3-episode OVA called Baisten Well Monogatari Gazi no Tsuba.
Really?
Known in English,
Like right on the dot? I would have thought it was...
terrible anime on the internet.
This okay. That honestly makes me feel like immediately like that's a algorithm decision. That's like a retention decision. Oh, you have to throw something, the first title. Oh, I've heard of that one. You know, that I feel like fucking Gigax talked about this one. I feel like I'm pretty sure he made an entire video about Garces. You know, it's like everyone knows this one. And I'm surprised that's the thing. I don't trust that as being right on the dead money number 100. I feel like that would be higher.
Of Mobile Suit Gundam, you'd expect some great characters and storytelling.
Is he gonna bring up Dunbine?
Absolutely none of that. Within the first 10 minutes of the
No, I don't think he's gonna bring up Dunbine. Whatever, fine. That makes sense.
Never get an explanation.
I'm so bored of Garces, I really...
Kind of an isekai? The main...
Kind of, it is! Chris Bryant, that's funny. I am shocked he's not talking about that this is based on Dunbine. And I've heard that there's an even worse, like, Char on Twitter, there's another Dunbine OVA that's, like, worse. Apparently this is worse than Garces. But, like, most people know Garces for the infamous dub and that it was released in the United States. But, like, apparently these other Dunbine OVAs, like, super weirder.
So yes, Garzy's Wing is most certainly not the worst anime ever made, but
No.
it's still a hilarious experience, I reckon.
Not even close.
The same cannot be said, however, for Dochimo Meido. This is a 1-episode ONA about
What number
two
is that for
alien
you?
beings from outer space coming to Earth to...
What number is it for you?
And wow, does this thing...
I have not heard of
The
this one,
art
so I'll
style
listen.
reminds me of every pic you find when you search anime waifu on DeviantArt, and the audio sounds like it was filmed using one of those like tiny Gen Z TikTok mics while inside the world's most cavernous public toilet. The entire 12 minutes, yes, 12, because it has a extended 2-minute opening and a 1-minute ending for whatever reason. It's just filled
2-minute
to
OP
the
and 1
brim
minute
with
ED. That's not that unusual.
unnecessary sexual imagery and
Wait, what?
a whole bunch of info dumping, which doesn't end up mattering at all because the only plot you see throughout this whole goddamn thing are the pairs of plots between someone's shoulders. The anime poses itself as a comedy parody, but I feel the only people who would actually find this show remotely funny are the same people who unironically play Nyancat in 2024. Like, not even the main character looks like she wants to be in this show, and honestly, cannot blame her for that. Kizu Oibito is a 5-episode OVA from 1986 about
Yeah, he's.
Well, I'm not too
I guess
sure,
he's totally
actually.
ditched
Something about the
the
gold rush,
numbering,
and
I
the
guess?
Amazon rainforest, and
weird.
a cover image that is one step away from being the raunchiest yaoi
That's
show
crazy.
in anime history. The
Nah,
anime
that's
opens up
crazy.
with the main character getting knocked the fuck out by
Yeah, there you
this
go.
macho man who watched a little too much iShield 21, who then proceeds to
Nice reference.
rape our main heroine in
Yeah.
the middle of a goddamn park. Like, I can't show any of this. Now, a sane person would probably sit there and wonder, well, why the hell would this person do such a horrible thing 4 minutes into an anime episode? Well, according to the perpetrator himself, he did it so that he could warn her about how dangerous the Amazon rainforest really is. I feel
Ooh.
like there were other ways to get that point across.
so
She then
bad.
suggests to him to swim through a river of piranhas to prove his innocence.
Jeez,
Which he
man.
successfully does, by the way.
That-
with
that's
his
okay, so
ultimate
this is-
piranha knowledge.
This is what's
or something,
interesting,
which
I think. I feel like when you go through the 100 and you have this this slate, and then you watch through all of them, I feel like there could have been some grouping or databasing over like the type what makes an anime bad, right? And I think you could have made maybe like a larger, and not in larger, this is obviously a long video, I just mean in terms of a more like broader discussion point about this, because this gives me Violence Jack vibes, and that's a type of bad where like very specific with like really heinous, uncomfortable subject matter, content that is very objectionable and unpleasant and doesn't go in a way that's very, you know, all that satisfying, right? Like Ninja Scroll has some rough shit in it, but it's also really gorgeous looking and has incredible action and all that, you know. And then it's an enjoyable film in spite of those like uncomfortable scenes or whatever subject matter, right? But these types of OVAs and stuff like Violence Jack isn't making up for those, and it's nothing but that heinous shit basically. And so I feel like there could have been some categories, or I don't know, ways of going about that because I just feel like already this video feels very and then in terms of just like kind of a never ending parade of bad shit, or even just like, you know, it also kind of reminds me of the 1989 videos, or like that one guy was like, I watched every anime from 1990. There's no glue between the segments basically. It's sort of just like a parade of smaller videos in the one big video, right? That obviously Joey wouldn't be able to justify like a 2 or 3 minute video. The segment that he's talking about in this particular OVA or whatever, maybe the other, I think that last show is he only took maybe 2 minutes on or whatever. So maybe, you know, putting it all together like this, but it does become just like eating a whole jar of jelly beans where each one's its own thing, but you're eating all of them at once. It's just kind of a parade of them. I've never latched so much specifically on Joey's perspective and commentary on these sorts of things, but I do think the platform that he has, in contrast with the things that he's talking about when it comes to anime, I think has always been very interesting.
Severely failed to understand the validity of, but after she deems him to be the true Giga Chad, she decides to follow him
That's just
for
the
the
same
next
clip from
4
before, but
episodes
okay.
to complete her journalistic
I'm sorry to
intentions.
nitpick like
yeah,
that.
I just realized that nothing I've said for the past 2 minutes makes any goddamn sense, but trust me, that's what we are dealing with today. Kizo Obito
Sense
is
isn't
one of
really the
many
word for
examples
it.
you'll see in this video of those super violent and hypersexualized pieces of doo-doo anime OVAs from the 80s and 90s that I'm sure were only made to piss off genuine anime fans like myself, and I'm already regretting doing this video. So let's move on to something a little more lighthearted but equally as shit. Kochimpa. I almost don't even want to qualify this as an
This is what I mean. I think the ones that the order that he's putting these in are very calculated and precise, right? There's no actual order here because the order just is sort of arbitrary. It just so happens that this one is above the other one in terms of, you know, ratings on Mal. So he's definitely ordering them in a way that makes some semblance of flow for the video. Like, okay, this is pretty dark. Let's switch it up, but it's still bad, you know, kind of like this. But but he is kind of hitting different points. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of anime that are like this, that are very shallow and vapid, and kind of. I think you can, yeah. I'm echoing, repeating myself at this point.
This is a 15-second episodic advertisement for a pachinko slots company called Island, featuring their 3 mascot characters, Aira, Hana, and Shima, trying their...
Yeah, there's a lot of this, and I don't know, would you count this? Right? Would you... Does it really count? I don't know. I guess some of them do, but...
I shit you not. One of the characters, Hana, this one, is voiced by none other than Hanazawa Kana. The world-famous anime voice actress.
She'll kind of do anything. She'll kind of do a lot.
Visible and beloved anime characters ever put to screen.
She's not exactly, Ikana Hanazawa is no Daniel Day-Lewis. She's not like, very selective and, every single one is gold type of thing. She kind of just does whatever.
Totaling 36 episodes, and they're all filled with the most brain rot, gambling crap that is not even worth talking about in this video, because it's honestly shameful just how much money these pachinko companies actually have. And this thing right here, Kochimpa, is a cruel reminder that the money you spend at pachinko goes on to fund the biggest...
More pachinko. Yeah.
Ever seen. Okaasan ni Naisho, or Don't Tell Mom, is a 3-minute avant-garde music video about doing sexual things secretly from your mom. I'm glad I wasn't on drugs when I first watched this. The short was created by Kabuki Sawano, an avant-garde erotic artist whose style kinda reminds me of some of the things I saw on Newgrounds under the Turd of the Week category. The music is written like a children's nursery rhyme, while the visuals morph and twist into extremely graphic and bizarre sexual imagery, which makes the entire experience that much more weird and disturbing.
Yeah, like I think the sexual imagery would make it very uncomfortable.
Experimental animation from time to time, but I feel the only people who would unironically enjoy stuff like this are the same type of people that unironically enjoy playing Reddit 50/50, and I don't really want to be associated with that camp, if I'm being honest with you.
I don't necessarily appreciate using this as an opportunity to be like, people who like this must be like this, must be weirdos. No, don't do that. What do you? Well, because you're not treating your viewers with respect here. I mean, maybe he is, because it's a lot of it. He's like, you're cool, right? Like, you wouldn't watch this stuff, right? And I don't know. It's ostracizing. It's like, people who like this, blah, 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 blah. Like, you're making up a guy. And maybe, and you're probably not. Maybe there are people like it, and maybe you're on the money about it. But I just don't think it's worth throwing fans under the bus for something that they didn't make, that they didn't endorse necessarily. That, like, clearly the people that put it on this list give everything a shot and put it justifiably low. There aren't that many people that do enjoy, and I don't know. I guess he's just making a joke. But there's other ways to make jokes that do not have to be at an anime fan's expense.
Kangaeru Renshu, or imagination practice, is something that I almost can't even call an anime. It's more like an avant-garde art project from Anime Purgatory. It consists of an animated art piece of a self-portrait artist looking at an illustration of the same self-portrait artist, which then loops endlessly for a full 4 minutes, paired with these Looney Tunes spring sound effects that make me slowly lose my mind. I think this is something I could appreciate in like a contemporary
and he's like, and the editor is speeding this up. I don't know why. It seemed like you could tell, like, when they were just playing a clip, that it very much is like, animated on 2s or whatever, or 3s. Yeah, like it's that makes sense. And then when he comes back to talking,
I think this is something
he's totally speeding that up. And I guess they just get a sense of like, yeah, this is the whole thing. But you're not necessarily representing the anime like you were, as the editor was in the other clips, right?
appreciate in like a
I don't know why they're
contemporary
doing it
arts
this way.
museum or something. Stop motion based drawings that, you guessed it, only use the color red as a spring door stop constantly rings through your ears, giving you the sensation that you're being cursed by some African witch doctor. The
This looks fine. This actually looks kind of cool. The fuck?
animation is very trippy, and as a lover of contemporary art, I do
Yeah.
respect it. But again, calling this an anime is just a bit too much of a stretch.
Why? Why are we? I didn't. The questions that I'll have to look back of the ones the question, but like determining whether or not these are anime was not on my bingo card. Why are we? It's bad. It's a bad anime because it doesn't remind you of anime. Is that the argument we're going with here? Like, huh? Excuse me? That's weird. And look, I get it. Fucking Shitcom's gonna be on here, and fucking all these other like shorts, whatever. And I'm not expecting this to be a fucking 10 or something. And these need to tell. Does an anime need to tell a story for it to be considered anime? He's not. I know he's not necessarily making that argument, but there's parts of it that they are like, oh, this is like, huh? That's weird. What a weird call.
このマヨネーズはゆるすぎる, or this mayonnaise is too liquid, is an even shorter and more
What was why didn't they put the numbers on? Especially because they started with putting the numbers on. I don't even know what number we're at anymore. I haven't counted. I'll go back, I guess, of like, was this all 100 of them or whatever? Or maybe no, that'll take too much time. I have to fucking... I wasn't planning on making a reaction video today, and yet this came up, and I'm like, yeah, why not? But damn it, man, now it's sort of like, it's making me feel like shit. Now it's endless. I'll keep looking at the fucking timer bar of just how much there is and everything. I don't know why they didn't put the numbers on. I really am dreading once they get to one that's, oh my god, fucking Cypher's on here, isn't it? No, wait. Oh, yeah, it is. Right. No, it has to be. It fucking has to be on here. Let me just double check. Because the lowest out of the 100 was a 4.11. Oh, it's not. Yes! Thank God. Cypher's a 4.52.
Pissed off at this, Decoball beats the eagle up with his bare fist like the fucking Chad that he is, to which the eagle agrees to carry him and his car to safety. But then he encounters a storm. The rope snaps, and Decoball is left standing there, dumbfounded by the entire event. The end. Insane to think that a 1-minute anime film from 90 years ago makes more sense narratively than Ghazi's Wing.
It does. It's pretty...
Something
I wonder if...
Let's go back to the modern times with an...
Okay, so he's actually not gonna... I thought that Joey, he almost gives it, but he really didn't give any negative about that short at all, actually. But he does... I kind of was thinking this before that short came on. Like, is there gonna be a situation where one of these comes up and he's like, this really shouldn't be here. This is actually kind of okay. But I don't know if... It doesn't sound like he's going to give it that charity. I mean, he did give it a compliment, but I'm wondering. I wonder if that'll be the case. That'll be great. I would really like that. Like, it reminds me of when IHE, I Hate Everything, did his, Search for the Worst or whatever, and he had put the Bionicle movie on there, and he did the video, and he's like, this actually is not bad at all. Like, it's obviously not amazing, whatever, but it was like a surprise. And that was just so cool to see, because you click on a video of like Search for the Worst by Uncle Mask of Light, and you're like, oh my god, he's going to tear it to shreds. Which, to my chagrin, because I like that movie. And then he's like, oh my god, it's Lord of the Rings for babies. I don't know, it's good. It's a good video. Anyway.
Honestly, just go and play the original game. It's so much better.
Which honestly looks like a kind of a cheap Flash game. Like, I agree. I don't think I would be going out of my way to experience either of these things, mostly because it's not my type. Type of Janai desu. But like, he's like, play it. It's way better, and it looks like this. I'm sorry, that's like a in between. I don't know. Like, that's a little weird and disingenuous. Not disingenuous. I just think it's like the standards are weird. The standards are like, anime should look like fucking Akira. But the games can look like this. Like, I don't know. And like, it's fine if the game looks like this. But like, the anime can't look like what it looked like. Like, I agree, it's not very appealing or whatever. I'm not saying, oh, wow, it looks amazing. But it's like, I don't know, the standards are way skewed in this. Like, go play the... I don't know. That came off weird to me, personally.
The Thing of Rotation for a Child is another 2-minute avant-garde art film that is easily a million times more disturbing and off-putting than anything from the Aoni franchise, as it basically consists of a child doing cartwheels for 2 minutes in silence. Like, who is responsible for these, man? I need answers. Adventures...
Right, and so, like, that's why I think that, like, there isn't too much to say about 2 minutes of a person cartwheeling, or, like, somersaulting for 2 minutes. Because I get why it's low rated like that, but it's also just so funny that like stuff like this is on Mal. Like, I must watch all the anime. Like, I don't know. We have to think about it. So we have to set boundaries at one point. Not about like, oh, this isn't anime. That is anime. I'm just like, to what end are we databasing this for? You know, like, what are we putting this here for, I guess? It's for obsessive completionists. Yeah, I don't know. I understand. I think Mal's done great for the culture, ultimately. But yeah, I don't know. Stuff like this just makes me think. Again, I'm not trying to say these aren't anime, or like they shouldn't be discussed or whatever. But it is just like, if you were Japanese and you animated something for the sole purpose of putting it on Mal, you know what I mean? It's like, I got my own Mal entry, and here's this animation I did. It's like a little scribbly thing. I don't know. I think there could be an argument for like a different website, maybe, but I don't know, because yeah, that's such a thorny topic.
In Beauty Wonderland is what it looks like when you take DMT for the first time at an Edvard Munch museum. No thank you, sir. I will pass on that. Meanwhile, Marudase Kintaro...
What? That's all you had to say about that? That actually looked pretty cool. How long was it? Like, what was the thing about it? Like, you barely described it. Oh, well.
After which he straight up just, like, shoves his finger up his... I can't believe I just said that out loud. This is one of those shows, like, you and the boys should gather around and watch over some brewskis, because
No, thanks. What the fuck? What? Like, I get this is like a joke, but, like, think about that for more than 2 seconds. Like, yeah, me and the boys are gonna go up on the couch and watch this shit. Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck?
It's an admirable look into the history of anime, I guess. Give it a watch if you're interested.
The bog standard. Give it a watch if you're... God. It just feels like filler words of like, you don't know what else to say. And I definitely think I've said it maybe in a video somewhere, in one of my videos. Maybe that's the case. You know, I'm gonna fully whatever. But like, you really like, you don't know what to say in the script if that's what you say. You know, when you're like, give it a watch. Maybe there are people that they're generally trying to say that, but it's, yeah, it just feels he's off the cuff talking about it almost. You know, almost felt like that, but I never even I haven't, up to this point in the video, I haven't pondered to consider if this was unscripted, how much of this was scripted and how much was unscripted. I really don't know. I think he's doing a good balance of both, maybe a mix of both, whereas like something comes up to his head, or towards like riff here or something like that. I don't know.
It doesn't matter, because I need to know the name of the music that plays intermittently throughout the short. Like, it's so goddamn nice. Like, oh, I feel like I'm at a cigar bar or something. I gotta dress up nice, you know, spin a glass of whiskey around or something. It is class. And expression.
There you go. That's great. There we go. Yay. I liked that.
Whose Vimeo description, I think, best explains its context. Ember is...
Is this just... I think this is like trying to bait into the YouTube meta right now. Just like, must make a very long video that people can just kind of play in the background while they do work. Shit. It's like, I could be doing that. I could be doing work while instead of recording a video about it. Shoot, he got me. Well. But I feel like that's the meta that he's playing into right now, because there really isn't that much of a build-up or a structure to this. it really is just like, and then next one. And I should have expected that. But I don't know. Even just like a countdown with like giving the number. But without the number, it really feels like endless.
More decent than what I initially thought it was going to be. The
Good,
animation
there you
and music
go.
were quite
Let's
expressive
go.
and definitely added to the vintage horror-styled atmosphere more than a handful of horror anime that I've seen.
I agree.
But
I think this looks really
I just
good.
wouldn't call this an anime in any way whatsoever. I'm sorry. Look, don't get me wrong. Cool little piece of underrated animation, sure, but get it off my anime list. Oh, also,
Get it on. Right. I do think there is something to be said about that, where it's just like a bunch of YouTube videos on Mal. But so it's like, are we going to designate anime as something that's being professionally released? So like all these mahjong things get to be on here, but something that's genuinely kind of artful and made by a Japanese animator doesn't get to be on here, right? I do not envy them having this position of like determining this sort of thing. But I do get where he's coming from with this. I think there is an issue to this. But in that instance, it's like, I don't know if this is necessarily the video or the platform to talk about this sort of thing. To really dig into Mel's problems, really. Like, if you don't think it should be on here, then don't put it on here. Don't even have it on your list. If the list is curated and kind of subjective to the, we're kind of cutting in and out. Like, I could pull up the list and look at the order and kind of see what, maybe he cut something out. I have no idea. I have yet to find out, really. I'm just in it for vibes at this point. But like, I don't know, I'm not sure if this was the platform or place to be like, this is an anime. That's another thing, like not calling it anime, but it's like, yeah, I do see where he's coming from with the argument of it being on my anime list in conjunction with like what he's trying to talk about here. But like, it's, is it really anime if it's like, is it really not anime if it's independent claymation artist? Are we really gonna, I don't know. That's such a slippery slope.
the art and animation is subpar.
What a
and
weird
is something
Ooh.
you've seen a million times already. I honestly
Kind of a
think
fun- that
Gold
was kind of a fun
Soldier is
edit.
truly one of
That caught
the
me off guard.
most- Why? Are we just gonna add anything and everything made by a Japanese person onto Mal now? Like,
Right.
what's the point anymore? Yukidoke or the Thor is another.
Yeah, like I don't know why this is becoming the argument, you know? Like, if you really don't want to, like, this isn't what I would want to talk, whatever, then, like, okay, gather up 100 of, like, I took out the music stuff, and I took out the whatever, and I really want to find out. And then you end up getting stuff like Cypher on there, probably. You know, the 100, it feels like when you do the 100 worst, it would go anywhere from the lowest rated, which is like a 2.3, I think, or something like that, or even probably a 1 or 1 point something. I don't know what scale it happens at, or whichever one's at the bottom right now. It's changed a couple of times. But the, like, anything under a 5, anything at a 4 point something feels like, wow, this sounds genuinely awful, right? But he's really only counting like 4.1, so really just really like 3, 2, 1 pretty much, which I'm sure probably just makes up plenty for 100. But again, you do get a lot of stuff like this where there isn't that much to say, so all he can say is, why is this on here?
Like, I can actually respect this one because I understood exactly what was going on and the atmosphere it created served its purpose. So, hey, well done to whatever sick and twisted freak who decided to release this onto the earth. You did good. After witnessing whatever that thing was that will definitely come back to haunt me in my nightmares, my horse...
No, okay. He didn't complain about that being on Mal. If it's good, then sure, it could be, right? That becomes unless it's good, and then we're like, oh, but we want it on here. It's such a bad idea. It's such a thin line. Because you're like, whose site is this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm on this person's site rather than the database. Trying to be as, like, cohesive and, not cohesive, but, like, comprehensive as possible. That was great. And I just feel like, man, if we could have it in a way that, like, you go through all 100 of them and you're like, here's what I found. A lot of them were like this, and here's a couple examples. A lot of them were like this, here's a couple examples. But here's a couple that I thought were genuinely great. Or not generally great, but good at least. That shouldn't be at that bottom there. And maybe you can like advocate for people checking it out themselves and then rating it how they feel about it. Maybe it boosts its rating. That'd be kind of cool. And he's not, maybe he says it at the end or whatever, but it just gets me thinking about that sort of thing. I feel like there's a mission or a direction for this video instead of just like kind of going through it and see what happens. Obviously, like that's the impetus of any video or any creative endeavor like this. I think you do just kind of like, what would happen if I did this? Or if I blah, blah, blah. The results of that. But as someone who's done this for 2 stream series now, I don't know what the results are at the end of it or how it's going to go. But we're doing it to find out. And then the end result videos are the kind of synthesis and, okay, what did we learn about this? Right? And I feel that's more additive and valuable than like just kind of going through them and very randomly. Sometimes this is good. Sometimes, why is this on here? It feels very all over the place. Like there's so many titles to cover that he wants to cover here, that he's just kind of going. I don't know how much they were structured towards the beginning for retention, but this far into the video we're like, fucking just go through the order, whatever. I don't know. Ooh, yeah. Now here's the title I actually heard of. Oh boy.
Galaxy Tyler is actually a spin-off to 1993's
There we go.
The Irresponsible Captain Tyler, which in my opinion was a pretty decent comedy sci-fi show with strong characters and funny plot lines. So how the hell did they manage to fuck it up this badly? The jokes, if you can even
I
call
really
them that,
don't know.
are just so not funny that you would have thought Amy Schumer was responsible for them. And although the updated visuals try to appeal to the newer generation of anime fans, its contents are the most vapid, eye-rolling, piss-poor excuse of a comedy that I have ever seen. And the fact...
I mean, yeah. It does look incredibly vapid, and you're also constantly thinking, like, what does this have to do with Captain Tyler? Although, this character right here, honestly, is like giving me Heybot vibes, and it makes me think, wait a minute, who made this? And what kind of context, where did this come from? Do you know what I mean? And if it was like the Heybot people, it makes me give pause, it makes me think, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But not to make that it doesn't make it any more entertaining, it just makes it more interesting.
that they managed to make 12 episodes for this just goes to show that whoever was responsible had a personal vendetta against the original Captain Tyler series. Like, I'm certain of it. Like, did your dad leave you when you were little and Captain Tyler was playing on the TV or something? Like, I'm seriously wondering who this show is even aimed for, because I'm certain there's not a single age demographic who would find this show enjoyable in any sense of the word.
Children who don't know what Tyler is? Probably. I don't know. Maybe somebody. But in the context of the anime community and putting this on Mal, like, yeah, this is going to go pretty low because it's, what the hell is this? Right? It is sort of like so far removed from what anime fans would want to see. Well, English anime fans would want to see. Keep in mind, this is Mal we're talking about. English speaking anime fans, at least.
Okay, the anger I felt during the making of this entire video is perfectly reflected by the title of the next entry on our shit list, Summer's Puke in Winter's Delight. This one's just gross. It's a 3 minute short of some of the most what the fuck imagery paired with what I can only describe as puke trap music playing in the background. Like, imagine your typical trap song, but then they decided to sample puking sounds into it. I'm sorry, but I don't want to listen to someone throwing up for 3 minutes as my eyeballs are subjected to disturbing hallucinogenic imagery. Like, that's a fat no from me, dog. Thank you.
I do agree as well, but that's very similar to the one he talked about kind of earlier. I don't know how much earlier, because God, this video is just a flurry. It's very similar where it's like very bright colors and like super fluid animation and trippy visuals and stuff, and it's cool in its face, but it's the specific subject, like content choices of it being graphic and kind of gross out humor that I think it's like turns those other people that might otherwise be interested in these sorts of visuals off, right? Again, also in the context of like my anime list, what do I give this out of 10? Like, I don't know if this was necessarily made for my anime, for people to put on them. I don't know if any animes, that just goes to, makes you think like, wait, so what anime would be made to be put on my anime list?
Again, I'm sure there's some kind of deeper meaning to this one. But
or not. I actually don't care if there's a deeper meaning into this. At least it has a concept, and I think this looks kind of interesting.
But after the last couple of anime I just watched, I don't really want to use my brain cells for a while.
Right. Here's the other thing about this, is it catches you in a particular mood. Depending on the order in which he watches these, and in the context of, I'm watching 100 of the worst anime rated on Mal, you watch these with that context. And so that you have certain expectations of like, in what way is this bad? Right? And so the handful so far, very notably subvert his expectations, and that's what, creates that impression. But if he just went into this one after this one, of course he has zero patience for something like this after what he does with this one, right? Just like the order in which he does these, he watched these, influences how he feels about these titles. And there's really not much avoiding that, unfortunately. I do think there was something to be said with my Lupin video when I started realizing just how many of the TV specials sucked, or this idea of mid-pon. The next ones that would show up, I'm like, yeah, this one's mid-pon. You'd make that assumption, and then it would meet your expectations, or subvert them, or exceed them. In the case of some of these, good lord, no. But like, I think creates sort of its own bias that kind of distorts your view on some of these titles that you might otherwise, in a vacuum or in another context, might feel differently about.
Look, I'm sure that in their heads they envision this to be like a badass sci-fi action show, but the results are just hilarious. The characters look like they were drawn with a mouse on Microsoft Paint after reading the How to Draw Anime Faces WikiHow for 15 minutes. And the animation is just so clunky and rigid that I can see the animation timeline in my head as it plays out. Like, if you took every...
But I kind of like that. I don't know. I honestly, like, it is titles like this that I just like, yeah, that's why I don't try it. Holy shit. It is such a bitch to do this sort of thing, and I don't envy them at all. And I think that just going for it with something this ambitious is really cool and admirable. Yeah, I think the style and clunkiness of it is all you can see, and you can't get immersed in it. You can, like, there are anime that are so good you just kind of forget of them being drawings, right? And that's what Disney wanted, right? They want you to forget that you're looking at a drawing. Which is a different approach from a lot of my favorite anime, where the artistry is a part of it. You're looking at the backgrounds and you're like, oh, I can't believe someone fucking painted this. This looks gorgeous. Or those postcard memories, or just the sometimes fluid animation or whatever like that. But really just like the miracle of animation. I feel like it's titles like this that do make me realize that, or like make that visceral for me, and I can't help but appreciate that. And I don't know, I would probably go up to bat for this one if it had a story that was like okay. That's the other thing. It is like, yeah, there isn't much here or whatever, and I would probably still come away from this thinking it was mediocre to not good. But I don't know, I think this is such an easy target in terms of what Joey's focusing on here, personally.
Animation, anime-style Newgrounds Flash animation, fed them all into an AI and said, computer...
Don't compare it to fucking AI, dude.
It
was made in 2006 with Flash. You had a perfectly fine analogy with Newgrounds. And a lot of people enjoyed Newgrounds and came from Newgrounds and, like, were inspired by Newgrounds. I'm pretty sure the both times he's brought up Newgrounds is as an insult. You know, I don't like that. I don't like that, Sam I Am.
Like deadass, I think they should actually use Hanukkah in college animation lectures as an example of how not to make an anime in Flash.
I would agree. I don't think that he's framing this as an insult. But like, this is what school is for, to like learn about this shit. I do think where it's like, what could they have done better here? I really do think you can look at something like this and be like, okay, how do they make something like this? And what makes it so jarring or like unappealing? I think in this particular frame that they're using, it's really close to their face, and there's not much consideration for composition here or whatever. Think about stuff like this. But really, what's wrong with the eyes? You know, I think it would be a challenge to think like, okay, it looks bad. Okay, how? And what would you do to make it better? Without using, and obviously you have to consider the technologies they were using in 2006. It's like, oh, I just use After Effects. Like, they don't have, or I don't know if After Effects, probably, I don't know the time frames of some of these programs, but like, you would offer a program and they were like, oh, it needs compositing or whatever. And it's like, do they have the compositing tools that we have now? Type of deal. It would be interesting. But I mean, again, I feel like he's grasping for original insults here. And that's the kind of the pitfall of making a video in this structure. Because it was just over and over and over and kind of in the same, let me roast this one, let me roast that one. It's a roast-a-thon. It's basically a roast-a-thon with a couple exceptions. And I feel like that's why it would have been maybe a bit smarter to take this more cohesively and to, what am I saying? Like, why would I expect a video like that? I don't know. I guess it's just what I'm thinking of doing. Because, like, you know, I think I could probably, like, give up with making my Sally and Akko video, which I just started writing today. Sorry. I just started writing it today. And I was like, fuck, okay, well, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do. I don't want to spend time on the production history because Aoba's made a great video, a great blog entry on that. I don't want to tap into calling it a magical girl, you know, where the term magical girl came from, because Aoba's also got a good blog on that. I'll link that as well. I'll mention them in the video, but like, I'm basically tabling the stuff that I'm not talking about. And I also rewatched Aaron Cerise, or Mahou Shoujo profile videos on Sally and Akko, and trying to analyze, okay, like, what does she talk about, and how am I going to cover new ground? How am I going to stand apart that's different for that video, and what would I find to be substantive as someone who hasn't seen these shows? And so starting to kind of piece that together and find ways that talk about it that are interesting or additive is an interesting challenge. And I don't know. I guess it's easier to go this way. It's not easier. I think there is its own challenge because it's a longer video, and it is a gauntlet. It is kind of a grind that Joey's putting himself through.
Because anybody at a college level understanding of animation can tell you this show just ain't it.
I would be interested to hear what people. I think the animators, you know, would be like, yeah, there are problems here, but in what way? What can we learn about from this show that we would learn more about anime as a whole? You know, is that too much to ask? I don't know.
Which, yes, also ended up being a forgettable piece of garbage, falling into the why the hell is this on my anime list pile of slop.
Again, why does he bring that up as an insult? Honestly, but beyond that, this looks interesting. I don't see that many anime looking like this. This is kind of cool.
Instead of drawings, it uses these IRL dolls to create like this...
Yeah, it's like stop motion.
Low-budget stop-motion animation, but the story...
Are we really going to go with calling it low-budget? Honestly, it looked a lot like Rankin Bass. The way it like kind of moves with the mouth and stuff like that. I like Rankin Bass a lot. I'm like, whatever, man.
The dolls themselves look like something a serial killer would make in his cell using leftover Furbies and Barbie doll parts he bought for a few packs of cigarettes. And the show, it's an
insult. They're trying to make it insult Sam like a recipe, like trying to like cigarette, like it's a shitload of fuck. I think that's a fun creative writing exercise in its own way, and that could be entertaining and gives people a laugh. It's just not me, though. Just not the kind of thing I'm gonna.
Who the hell is this show intended for other than
Don't like just say asking what they're intended for, and make that a question, and maybe try to answer it like earnestly. And because again, that is another very cliche insult of like, oh, what's this made for? Like, I get you're like baffled by its existence, but maybe it was actually answered by the people who made it. Maybe, or not. Or maybe it was just commissioned for some media mix project. Where is this stemming from? This is a pilot for something? Is this associated with some kind of doll or something? I look into it. Who is this made for? Find out. I think there's something like you genuinely have an answer for some of these. But then, of course, he's going to, other than, let me insult this group of people.
psychological girls on the verge of a mental breakdown.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and all of this that you're seeing right now was made in 2022, the same year we got fucking.
Don't compare it to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. What use is this? But I don't fucking. It's a joke. You're right. It is a joke. That I guess that is what he's trying to do.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners, proving once and for all that in the world of anime, money really does solve all issues. But listen, even still.
Is he really trying to fucking argue that Cyberpunk Edge Runners was great because it had a lot of money? It's not a budget. Oh, fuck. It's Trigger. It's Imaishi. It's good people. It's good staff. It's good, scheduling. Maybe it does have a good budget. Sure. Maybe there is some money to it, but like, you're not new. You know this. Come on. An amateur would say something like this, would make this comparison. You're not an amateur. We know. But you're talking like one. Like, what are you doing? Come on.
Anime adaptation of a stage play of the same name, and look, I'm yet to see the original stage play, but
yeah.
I think this might be the first time where the live action is infinitely better than the anime. Basically, as the
again, another. There's parts of me that are just like, we're never leaving this realm, are we? Like these same talking points. Like you definitely would have said this shit in 2013. No, the live action sucks compared to the anime. Like, you definitely said that maybe somewhere in the over 10 years that you've been doing YouTube. No way. But like, we're still here. We're barely moving. It's not even like a matter of it being cyclical. It's just not moving. It's just the same shit. It's just, God, our community isn't going to move forward if this is the stuff we're putting forward, if this is the stuff we're making. Like that's really disappointing. I guess I should have expected this. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Oh, man.
actually quite a nice and short 1-minute silent animation that I'm actually like genuinely questioning why it has such a low score on my anime list.
There you go. Yes.
It's not the most like gripping or tantalizing story or anything like that. It's just a simple morph animation of an embryo growing into a fetus. But the animation quality is actually really smooth and quite impressive. I've always been a fan of these kinds of like trippy morph animations ever since I watched Space Stuck by Sexual Lobster back on Newgrounds, but I just feel like...
There you go, and there's an actual positive mention of something good that came out of Newgrounds. That's good.
This could have developed into so much more than it ended up being, and so it just feels like a bit of a wasted potential. Bottom line, this one was actually pretty cool. I would actually recommend this. It has a stupidly simple and unoriginal story where the main character has to save the world from destruction, and surprise, surprise, he does so successfully. Whoa, ain't no way!
Is that really an insult? Are we really going with that as an like, I get it's very like dull, boring type of thing, but like, okay, what's bad about that? Like, it's just cliche. All right, that makes it like worth a 3.8 on Mal. I don't know, man. We're not even halfway through the video. Oh no, we're not even halfway through the video. Oh, I'm gonna die.
Is another short avant-garde animation that looks simple enough, but yeah, I don't get it. Let's check out.
That's funny. That was good. There we go. Like, give me some fun with it. That was nice. Oh yeah, yeah.
Diatron.
I believe
5.
isn't this
It's a
the
mecha
Korean?
anime
Yeah,
from
it
the 80s
is.
that I could only find the English dub for, which first of all has a banger opening song. Like, it's so goddamn 80s. I feel like growing my hair out and snorting coke all night. Also, I think
That's great. Like, there's been very little of that in this video. I've noticed very little, just letting the anime do its thing. Just here it is. You know, obviously there's still potential of the curation of these clips to kind of show these anime in their worst possible light. And that is because I feel like I've gotten that from Bennett a lot, where he just like really blows something out of proportion of like this one clip or whatever. But like stuff like that, where you really get exposure to these titles and like the kind of thing that you're getting into here is fun. And I think you can, you know, make the judgments for yourself. Like, whoa, what kind of deal? I also just made me think too, that's a very common example of something like that is Chargeman Ken, where you can just let the anime go, do its thing, and it's set. You know what I mean? You don't have to react to anything. That has a 4.5 on Mal. So we're not even gonna get to Chargeman Ken in this video. There's so many anime that I'm kind of expecting in here, and yet they don't show up. Oh well.
Circle
That does
is
sound
a
like fun.
1-minute
That does sound
avant-garde
funny.
music video that simulates
To the
what it's
extent
like
of
to
it,
be
right.
on fentanyl while listening to Frédéric Chopin. I didn't ask, but thank you for that wealth of knowledge. Petting a dog is an even shorter.
I didn't learn a damn thing about that. You just kind of made a joke and that's it. It's very similar to Popolov, that entry in the encyclopedia where they don't even tell you what it is. They just make fun of the fucking title. I get it, but like, as much as a slog this is for me to watch it, I imagine it was even worse trying to make it. I'm gonna actually watch through these and like, what do I fucking say? Don't envy you, man. Don't envy you.
I think the only reason why it's such a low score is not because it's like badly made or anything, it's because people are confused as to why the fuck it's on my anime list, and I'm gonna have to agree with those people, but the dog is cute. I'm gonna admit that. Look at him. On the other hand,
Yeah, so like a huge source of this, the rating doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the anime itself. It has to do with some metatextual, why is it on this website type of thing. You know, like, that's so strange to me. It would be kind of like, I was gonna say it's like if YouTube videos were rated like Mal scores, and they had like certain Mal scores and stuff like that. But you kind of have something like that with the like-dislike system, except people are more inclined to like a video than dislike a video. And so if a video has like 80%, it's dog shit. If it's like under 90%, it's like, whoop, you fucked up. And then anything lower is like, we really fucked up. You should delete that type of tier. You know, it's just not, it's a very skewed in terms, but like, I agree. Why is that on Mal? But I don't know if what does that have to do with being the 100 lowest rated title, right?
somehow this show makes Gibeat look like an episode of Jujutsu Kaisen with its clunky and almost avant-garde styled animation, which I guess...
Oh, come on. We're not pulling that card now, I guess when you are in this situation and you have to like pull every joke out of your ass that you possibly have without coming off repeating yourself, because he is repeating himself, just trying to like spin it in different ways. But like, and then yeah, but like I think it's a similar trap that the encyclopedia probably ran into, that they end up falling into these same tropes of like, why would you insult it in this way? Of like, this is an animation. Like, yes, it is. It's not an animation you like or enjoy, but like, can we not pull the animation card? Please, no. Oh my god, this reminds me of Hired Gun. Is Hired Gun going to be on here? Hired Gun is a 5.5 on Mal? How? That's a bad one. I mean, but you know what? The OP's amazing, unfortunately. It's really good. I really, really like that OP, and then I think that's why the subsequent anime was so crushingly bad for me. Like, I reacted so strongly negative towards it because I'm like, fuck, I like that OP so much.
Meanwhile, Dreams goes in the complete opposite direction and shows trippy hand-drawn animations of what is considered more to be a nightmare blunt rotation than any kind of sane dream, with some mega trippy sound effects and music that reminds me of the most messed up parts of LSD Dream Emulator, and honestly makes me never want to go to sleep ever again.
That looked great though. Honestly, that looks good. Just gotta say. Just gotta put it on for the record here. Dreams here. That looked good to me. I would check that out.
I like trains.
He likes good at it. Yeah. Dracula Softened of the Damned is on here. No way. And again, it's like the small handful of things that I do know, recognize. It's like, wow, okay. I have heard dreadfully awful things about this one, yeah.
Like, there are just way too many shots of slow zoom-ins and slow zoom-outs and panning shots that are just way too dragged out. Like, I'm not editing any of these shots. This is literally what it looks like for the entire film. Like, they could have used all the time they took with all these unnecessary shots to, I don't know, flesh out the overly confusing and convoluted story, but I guess the animators weren't getting paid enough to actually animate. The only decent—
Come on, man! No, what you're describing here is not the fault of the animators, it's the fault of the storyboarders. You literally, like, the way that these shots happen is you planned out, it zooms onto this character, and then it pans over to this thing, and then it pans over to the pans on the radio. Like, of course, it seems that way, but that's not an animator's fault. That's the director and storyboarder's fault. For, like, for making those artistic choices. Like, of course. I don't know. And the drawings don't even seem all that awful. You know, I don't think that any animators really had, like, half-assed it or whatever. Maybe they were rushed or something. Like, yeah, that doesn't look amazing. Or, like, it doesn't look like Kawajiri or something. Like, sure. And the thing is, I'm saying this because I think you know that. I feel like if you thought a little bit, you would think that, but the cliche, the one-liner that you're using here just makes sense, even though it doesn't make logical sense, right? But I get it. The challenge you have here of, like, here's your premise. You have to go through all 100 of these and kind of riff on them. And finding original things to say about all of them, who could do that? I don't know, maybe, because, like, I think a lot of people would end up taking, like, the disassociated approach, where they just try to, like, be funny on their own and have nothing to do with the title itself, and then finding a funny thing about it, maybe? I don't know. What's so funny is Hazel put out, literally the same day, weird and kind of scary anime on VHS, and some regular blah ones too. It is the same length. And I'm curious to see the differences in approach here. I don't know if I'll react to Hazel's video, but maybe I'll make a commentary about it afterwards, attach it to this thing or something. I don't know. Update. I did watch that Hazel video, and it's fantastic, mainly because it is like the single most Shabe score I've ever seen. Like, she brings up Cypher the Video first, and then California Crisis, And then what? I just like it just kept going of like yes, yes, yes in terms of like great. It was just like it was very similar to Joey's video of just a parade of random OVAs and shit. Like really not much rhyme or reason beyond like I think there's one grouping where she did a lot of like cat related OVAs. Brings up fucking Ororane, the cat player. Like, that's my shit. Oh my god! And I put up one point that like you put on chalk colored people like the same creator as Heart Cocktail and brings up Heart Cocktail. Showed off Chumon 91. Okay, all you need is Phantasmagoria and it's a complete grand slam. And I'm like, yep, there it is. Like you just like she brought it up as like a side tangent thing. And then there's a ton of other OVAs in there that I know about. X Train was in there right after fucking California Crisis. Like what the fuck? And then the stuff she was showing that I hadn't seen was really interesting. What the fuck? I was like, I feel like I was like, part of me was like, oh, I should have reacted to this video instead, or spend my time on this video instead. But it also just would have just been me squeeing and like, yes, yes, and like, I don't know, not as very thoughtful, substantive as maybe something like this. Anyway, yeah, I love the video though. Oh my god, watch it.
Other than that, just use your time effectively and watch Hellsing Ultimate instead or something. It's so much of a better show. Yes.
What? I guess because it's vampires, like, yeah, sure. But it, like, that's such an, I don't know. How useful is that really? Oh yeah, watch the single most popular vampire anime. Look, it's true. I probably should watch Hellsing before I watch Dracula Sovereign of the Damned. I think that's fair. If you haven't seen Hellsing already, like I haven't yet, that's fair. But I mean, I just found that incredibly useless. I don't know. I just found that again, it feels like something from like 2010s, like 2013. You'd say something like that. Like it doesn't. I don't know just how much you've really grown. You have grown as a creator, but it's not showing here. I think stylistically, there's something to it where like I think the being in the green screen and the on-screen presence is great, but that's kind of in terms of just the vacuum of this video and you making YouTube videos. But like obviously you've grown as a person in terms of like you're very successful with your clothing right now, your clothing brands, and the music that you're doing is really cool. And then also Trash Taste. Are you kidding me? Your Trash Taste is incredible, incredibly successful. Congratulations and all that, you know? It's just not that stuff that maturity and that development, growth, and perspective, I guess. I think it's showing a lot in your second channel. I don't know why I'm talking about this as if Joey's ever going to watch this one, maybe. I think a lot of that growth is shown on your second channel more. But here, I don't know. Maybe it's just the demographic you're working with and the perspective it's different. I don't know. But man, if anything, it is cool that like one of the biggest anime channels on in our space is talking about Dracula Sovereign of the Damned. That's cool. I can't deny that. That is cool.
Asashi Kinyobi, or Sweet Friday, is another surreal animated short from the 1970s that was clearly created before they discovered what epileptic seizures were, because this one is like physically difficult to watch now. At least.
Oh yeah, but I make the same edits in my AMVs. Like worse. I made way worse epileptic shit. Like that's not a dated thing. I think there is. I don't know. I think it is just. I don't know why I make them. I think it is just like that would be cool. I want to the two at the same time and then flash between the two of them. I don't know what but then I think about like, wow, that is really bad. But it's information overload. I don't think I'm trying to defend it really. I think it is just yeah, I make it too. I don't know.
At least the music in it is jazzy and kind of cool at times, but
yeah.
I seriously question the sanity of people who like make this kind of stuff. Like, I'm worried, guys. Are you sure everything is okay up there? Mendel.
Oh yeah, they are. But see, now you're questioning the sanity of the creators. It's literally like very similar with the encyclopedia, where they're like you're stray shots for everyone. Shots at the fans, shots at the creators, shots at the genre, shots at the everything. Everything. And that's what created this vibe of contempt, despite them even talking a lot positively about, like, the entire book was all, like, the majority of anime. Although I would say probably so far the vast majority of these titles that Joey's talking about would not be in the encyclopedia. So they excluded a lot of commercials and music videos and stuff like that. So, like, Daikon 4 is not in there. So I think the vast majority of these titles would not be in the book.
Fighting each other for no particular reason. This was made in the same year as Promare was released, by the way.
It's the same studio, too! You did this with Edgeriders, then you do it with Promare? Why? What the fuck was made by... Like, I have no doubt. Maybe there's some doubt. I have no idea. I've literally never heard of Ball of Clay in my life. It looks like something was made by one person. We're really comparing Promare to, like, an independent 1 minute thing. Are we serious, bro? I guess it's a joke. I know I've been taking it that seriously, but it's not funny. I'm just recoiling at it. I'm like, who cares? Like what? It's bizarre to me.
I guess supposed to be conveying the fact that, I don't know, creativity in the arts died after World War II or something.
I guess I laughed, so I guess that was effective. I guess that was an effective joke. Yeah, you got me there, Joey. Great.
This was made by none other than Production IG.
It does look like a Production IG work, to be honest with you. And that's not to be like, oh, they make crap or whatever. No, I think in terms of the designs and the animation there, what makes it look bad, I think, is the resolution. And obviously the CG doesn't look good, but, like, this looked okay.
But the biggest shocker of all,
like this right here,
is that this was made...
Like, that looked fine. I wonder who the animation directors were and what else that they've worked on. I don't know. It's just, again, he's like, the studio! Whatever. It's fine.
The English voice of Alita sounds like if Ash Ketchum was going through puberty really badly and...
That is what Ash sounds like. I'm watching Pokemon right now. And the dub sounds like he is 10 going on 11. As in, like, his voice is always cracking. You can literally hear Veronica Taylor develop the voice as the show goes on. The first episode, he kind of sounds like this. And then he sounds more like the Ash we know, further it goes on. That's literally like how people, like, with voice cracking and voice developing and stuff like that. And I find that interesting because Ash is a prepubescent character that is maturing into an adult, transitioning from being a kid into a preteen, and he acts like a preteen. So, like, that fits. I don't know. It's a weird. It's like the things is you're not thinking through these jokes. I don't think. I don't know. It's just. You just made me think of, like, stand-up comedians, and I'm like, what would be their approach to writing these sorts of things? What would be the challenge here? I feel like Conan would, like, kill at this. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I guess I am, like, trying to, like, be like, oh, you know. But, like, I know you're not, like, trying to, I don't know. Maybe that was an unfair comparison. It does make me think. It did make me think that.
Alita, this is the shape of destiny. No, dog. I'm pretty sure that's the shape of a bad fucking anime.
Yes!
Ooh, you got him! Oh, good.
Like, I don't think even the most brain-dead Idol fans can get behind this one, to be honest, which is saying a lot considering that Idol fans will literally buy anything, even if their Oshi is the most brain-dead, stupid character of all human existence.
Insulting Idol fans. Why? Why do we have to do that? You can't think of anything else to say. That's why. And that's why I do think this required a different approach. But I've harped on that enough.
In other words, throw it in the trash. We don't need it in our lives.
Alright. That just... Do I want to continue at this point? I'm halfway through. I'm about halfway through. I'm, like, recorded for almost 2 hours now. should do what Weeb Crew does and just go live and record my live stream the reaction that way. Seems way more efficient. I don't want to do that though. That's what they do. I'm different. But also just I like editing these. I do like editing these, but I also don't. Oh no! But I also don't want to make a habit of like, now this is what I do now, guys. I live stream YouTube Digest now. Like, no. But I'll try to make less commentary now and maybe try to speed run this a little bit.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially halfway done with the list.
I did. Amazing. Just amazing. All right. At this point, yeah, I am going to speed this up. Sorry. And I'm not going to skim through or anything, but I am going to 1.5 speed it. And I'll try to make less commentary about it, unless there's something I genuinely have something to say.
Oh, and by the way, the opening for Season 2 is done by freaking Mizuki Nana, the same person who voiced Hinata from Naruto. How much money did they throw?
I would love to watch it now. I must watch it now. No.
Like, just look at these goofy ass scenes. Like, mind you, I am not editing this footage whatsoever. This is exactly how—
That is such a cliche too. I'm not editing this footage. That's what it looks like. Oh my god. I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it, man. There's so too many video tropes now. They need to be TV tropes for YouTube videos. No!
It just seems like the people who worked on this didn't give two rats' asses about their work whatsoever and just threw this into the void.
I think that's so insulting. Like, I mean, look, I get it that like it's not great, or whatever, but like, oh, they don't give a rat's ass, and it looks like that. I don't know. I think that took more than a half hour to go through. Maybe for a very skilled animator, it would take them less time or whatever. But like, I don't know. I feel like that's not nothing. I feel like that is a fair amount of work there. But obviously, again, it's in the zone of like, it's crap. But like, of course, I would probably think the same way.
Listen, boys, I'm not even going to pretend to know what this one means or care about knowing its meaning. I just need to know, are these people who make these things like, okay? Like, what drives a mind to make things like this? And being like, yeah, that's okay to publish to the rest of the world. Like, fuck it. Yo, let's take another shroom, bro. Like,
I feel like, you know what makes me think? It's just like, wouldn't it be cool if you took a lot of these shorts that just like kind of look the coolest and you just kind of put them all together in one, maybe not an AMV per se, but maybe an AMV of sorts. I don't know. You're giving me ideas now. But you just like, it's like a Sakuga had. You just kind of let them play out. I do wonder and think if like, I doubt most of these are on Sakugaboru, because like you just upload the entire clip at that point, because it is just sort of like animation exercises, because there's how many of these are in the context. I made this in the context of my graduation thing, like that I made this to, as my project or whatever, in that context. And that's why a lot of them don't have a theme or an idea to them or whatever, because it is just sort of like, yes, I can animate now, let me join the industry type of thing.
Yes, just in case you were wondering, I did in fact sit down and watch all 25 episodes, and to my surprise, it's all shit. So if that dedication doesn't deserve a like on this video, I might as well just end my life now.
Boy, do I agree. And the only difference between you and me is that I don't even think to drop a like on this video. I should. That's such a good idea, man. That's such a great idea. And I never think about it. It doesn't cross my mind. And I'm not trying to make that as like, oh, I'm better than it, because like, clearly that works. Clearly there's the engagement. If you hit like at a certain point in the video when you're like really deep into it, YouTube actually acknowledges like, oh wow, they actually fucking, that actually counts for something. Maybe. No, I'm not trying to hold it over him or whatever. It is just like, damn it, I never think of that. Shit. But yeah, I mean, I'm similar with like, yeah, great. You should watch all 25 episodes, in my opinion. It's like, is he going to watch everything of like all of them or whatever? What if you get a 50 episode TV series on here as like one of the lowest rated or whatever? That's the thing. You're not. I don't think you are going to get something like that. The most he's gotten so far are one core 12 episode shows that like happen to come out and appear. Like fucking X-Arm is probably on here. Probably. I don't know, maybe. But like seasonal stuff that's like, whoa, catastrophically bad, that's in such a spotlight because we are all paying attention to seasonals now. But like not many seasonals now are 50 episodes that are going to be like, that are going to have these ratings and stuff. So
really
I
hate
don't,
himself.
yeah,
Speaking
it
of
honestly
hating
didn't
myself, here's
seem
another
that
one
way.
that almost-
It's Vampire Homes, an anime I've actually seen that definitely deserves to be on here. Oh my god.
Like, do they just not want people to have a good time? Because this is
Yeah, I agree. It really felt like a complete waste of time in terms of just like, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything.
just pure clickbait. And I
Didn't
feel
do
like
a damn thing. And I agree, like calling it damn clickbait. Yeah, yeah, nothing. There was nothing to it. It's just incredible. It was a complete waste.
oh, I'm sure that name brought back some sour memories in some of you. I actually remember reviewing this show on this very channel when it first came out in 2014. Damn, 10 years ago, who is this cute lesbian and where do I get her phone number? But yeah, to paraphrase myself from that.
But I'm
10-year
not,
video,
and it's true. He's just, but like, just how much of that 2014 video is like very, very similar commentary to what you've been doing in this video. It's just remarkable. It's just like, is he just going to parrot what he's just saying in that video? Because I don't know, maybe something's changed? I don't know. I forgot. The person who directed this, I'm familiar with, and is like, I'm actually I really like as a director. And it's always just like oh, what the fuck, they did Pupa too kind of deal?
For Studio Dean animation back in the 2010s, this
Come
animation
on,
was
don't just say Dean. The fucking director. Who is it? Yeah, no, it's fucking Tomomi Mochizuki, who I talk about in my Ranma video as like, he has the best part of Ranma half. And he also did Ocean Waves and House of Five Leaves and Kimiguri Orange Road, in particular the movie that's like really like serious and interesting and dramatic. This is a fantastic director. And the fact that he put out Pupa is so shocking and interesting. And you know, he really been doing a lot of like storyboard, like he's the director, the script, and the sound director. But it's just really surprising coming from him. He also happened to do Rainy Coco, which I should revisit with that perspective in mind, I think. But then after that, he's done Battery. And then he just did, in spring 2024, this show, Mysterious Disappearances, which is not rated amazing on Mal. It's a 6.77. But it came out spring 2014. Spring 2024.
It was still the biggest waste of my time. And after a 10-year gap, I still feel the pain that this lesbian went through all those years ago.
See, he said he's talking about Dean in the 2014 video. You can't come up with anything more like substantive than that. It really unbelievable. You're literally proving your point in this video, man.
Twinkle Nora Rock Me. is a
Oh my
1985 anime
god!
based-
No way! I should have fucking thought of that. Of course. I like this one, actually. Because it is just so quirky and like, I don't know, just like really funny and like weird in a way. And the animation does improve after the first scene, which is just like, wow, they really just didn't put in-betweens in. That's amazing. It's crazy. I have a whole, I made a whole AMV about it because I think it's, I don't know, the garishness of it. There's just something really, I don't know, there's a magnetic pull with this one. I actually have a good soft spot for it in a way that it's just like, I don't know. It just fascinates me. And I'm like, it's so bad. Not like that. I really do. There's just like, yeah, I don't know. There's just the aspects to it that I think there is a pull to it that I do generally enjoy. It elicits an emotion out of me. You know, I really am fascinated by it. And I would say that way more about shows that like I feel absolutely nothing towards, or I feel very numb watching, or I have antipathy or less for them. It's like, oh god, I fucking regret watching that show type of deal. Regret is the last thing you really want to feel, I think. When you with any piece of media, I think regret is the single worst feeling emotion. They're just like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do, you know? Guilt almost, maybe even. Ugh, it's gross. It's so bad. but I do not feel that way with this one. I really don't.
I promise on you and my mother that I am not editing this footage whatsoever.
Oh, you
This
couldn't.
PowerPoint
Oh, you
presentation-
fucking couldn't. That's the thing. Like, you would have to spend so much time to edit it like this. It's so interesting. But like, I don't know, it's fun. Whoa.
The art style is actually quite nice to look at, and with better execution and a lot more frames, it could have been a semi-decent show for its time. And look, this is almost a 50-year-old anime, so I understand.
Like,
it's
the
not
way
up to
that he's
same quality as
dancing,
other
it's like,
shows now,
what?
but goddamn, man, I just want to know what the hell happened during the creation process of this. I have so many questions that need answering. Shigeru, no, not that Shigeru.
That's what I mean. I think there was like, I think that elicits the question and like probes it. I think there is something kind of like really magnetic about it to me personally. Yeah. I'm just delighted to see it here, I guess. It shouldn't be, but it's the worst anime ever, but like, I don't know.
But like any good knockoff anime figurine, you can kind of laugh at it with your friends at how absolutely tacky and janky and shitty it is before you get bored of it and throw it into the furnace where it belongs. But now let's touch down on a more.
Again,
recent
there's a
piece
lot of
fresh
there's a
anime
lot of
development.
humor, especially in the back half of this video, that is related to like destroying this work, like this anime and stuff, like toss it in the ocean, throw away the key, burn it in a fire and stuff like that. And I get it's all exaggeration, but I don't like it. You know, I get there's stuff that I'm like, yeah, I wish I didn't watch that, but like, oh, I wish that didn't exist, or like, rip the hard work of these animators up in front of them type of deal. Like, I just, even if they have endorsed, even if that's like an endorsement type of thing, like, yeah, go ahead and do that or whatever. We hate that project or something. I'm sure there's animosity with some of these or whatever. Like, oh, I wish, you know, because they didn't want to. No one sets to make something bad, right? But just like that, I get it's just commentary, but I just don't like that kind of commentary. I just trying to steer our community in positive directions, like kill it with fire. It's like, are we 12?
It won a number of prestigious awards in the 60s, and like many other avant-garde animations we've seen so far, it's certainly interesting. I'm sure there's some kind of deeper meaning to it all, but unfortunately, I'm here to make a YouTube video, not a college thesis. So that's all I'm going to say, and move on with the next one. Because, I mean, really, who
that is
cares
such an
about
interesting
humor?
commentary. I'm here to make a YouTube video, not a, what did he call it? Like a doctor's thesis, something like that? What's the rest of us then? I don't think any of us are attempting that either. And I also think, you know, it's the Joe perspective of like, they're, you know, YouTubers cannot be academics based upon our parameters and stuff like that. But is it really so like weird or wrong that we, you know, the videos that we're trying to make are trying to be more on the informative side of things, and I don't know, thoughtful and like what a weird comment. It's just what a weird comment about, like, it feel like he was belittling his own medium of YouTube, I guess. I don't know. That's how it came off to me, at least. It's weird.
Oh, also, fun fact, this anime was made by Production IG. Yes, the very same studio that made
Psycho Pass.
is possible for this absolute
What did he say
abomination, and I
there?
have no-
Wait, hold on.
That
And
means-
also, he is making the exact same joke and observation with he said good luck on. No way! The editor fucking calling him out! That's so funny! No! That's so good. That's really funny. Shit, dude. You might be cooked. I get it, that these awful anime are cooking your brain to the point where you're thinking, damn.
Thank you for waiting. It is time to talk about the worst of the worst of the worst. Anime fans forbid its name to be spoken aloud, for it will bring forth a cacophony of turds to rain down from the sky like a Moses plague.
It's we have to have one. Just like how we had to have a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, putting it at the top, someone had to pull up the rear. Someone had to bring it up. You know, someone had to, you know, it's yep, of course. But that's what I mean, where it's like, it feels like, you know, a lot of this was kind of exploratory and was I'd forgotten what the fuck the questions I was posing at the beginning of what I was curious about, because I feel like it just at the end of this, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of what I was expecting. Just go through them all, and then it's Mars at the end. Yay. That's why I think it would be more additive. I'll say it one more time. that instead of going in like a chronological list like this, that I think at the end feels very anticlimactic. This feels very, very anticlimactic. That's why I think I would have gone with a different approach and not go with just kind of a little brief summaries and reviews of sort of like, oh, throw it in fire, whatever. Like in order of these 100 or whatever, in like a ranked video listing. Like I may have made this as like a Patreon video or something, like an exclusive, like kind of, it's okay type of thing, and it's worth making it or whatever. But like public as like for the main video, I just would have done like a synthesis. Like you can give the summary of like, here's like the number one, but here's a lot of the trends. A lot of it is sci-fi. The vast majority of it is avant-garde. And what do these avant-gardes do? Where do these come from? You know, give some broad generalizations of kind of like what defines a bad anime, right? Because you notice there really isn't any slice of life. Was there? Maybe there was. But like, there's a lot of genres that are not represented here, while there are like a ton of them that are. And what does that say about the taste of the My Anime List community, right? They don't really appreciate these animation experiments, for example. I just think that sort of analysis would have been much more interesting.
Half of this list are works that shouldn't even be on the goddamn website to begin with, because they barely constitute as anime in the traditional sense. Like, it's insane to think that all
what the fuck is he thinking? And what do you want to stake your flag in and call what anime is? Would you like to do that, Joey? He doesn't seem to want to do that in this video. As much as he's like harping on and like, this is an anime, this is an anime. Okay, then what is? Right? And do you really want to make that? You really want to start doing that? I don't think you do. That's so annoying. But I get the argument here. I do see where he's coming from.
Art pieces and claymations and contemporary artworks from independent artists are classified as anime, and yet Shelter by Porter Robinson wasn't anime enough to be included. So
yeah, that is stupid. That is really dumb. It is really dumb. I don't really understand that. I think but then that fucking, oh my god, when did Shelter come out? Fucking 2016? When the fuck did Shelter come out? It came out 2016. And by the way, Kitsu has it on their site. Just saying. God, that was, oh, what a shitstorm that was. Brings me back. Good memories. That was literally when I started my channel, fall 2016. Come on, man. I mean, like, how many fucking fans in this year, 2024, are gonna be like, wait, what? What Shelter? You know how many fucking anime fans were made since the pandemic? You think of that, and you're like, I can't. Like, how many of them know this? It's crazy. We're rehashing fucking Shelter discourse in a video in 2024.
there are a lot of terrible anime, but after watching a bunch of them, it really made me appreciate the good shows that exist in the medium as well. This experience really turns you into a humble anime fan, and as much as I absolutely hated the experience, I think it's something that will get you to appreciate the good shows for what they are. I would kind of recommend doing this challenge to those brain-dead anime fans on Twitter who compare frames with manga panels and have the audacity to complain about the tiniest details. Like, trust me, after this, I'm never complaining about little shit like this ever again, because the world of anime
good lesson, good output. Yes,
barely touched the surface.
Love that point.
Ever
Love
again.
this
The world
point.
of anime is deep and it is dank, and I feel we've barely touched the surface of this giant iceberg. But I am excited to see what
We
lies
have,
further
and
beyond.
I don't know just how much there is some effort here. That I shouldn't say, oh, there's some effort. This is really intimidating and really admirable and crazy that he did that. And it's obviously framed in a YouTubery way, which I think is a fair thing for him to do when that's his profession. Even though I do think there's other professions he's doing and that he's doing better. Is it getting any closer? I don't know. But is the other approach that I'm suggesting that I think would be more additive and valuable actually the thing that would get people to watch this sort of thing? I don't know. I don't really know if there's really an answer to that. Because you're not going to have it, but you'll get people to watch this but how much will they really take away from it, like learning something? But then how many people will actually watch or click on something that I make? I can understand the reality of that as the answer being not very many. I haven't had a video that I just like I made hit 10K since 2022. Since my Hinata video is the last one that's hit 10K. And sorry to make it about me again.
And yeah, I need to go and actually watch some good anime for a while. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, I hope he
Leave a like
actually
if you
goes
enjoyed.
and makes
Subscribe
it
if
watch
you're
good
new. And I'll
anime.
see you all in the
Because I know it was a whole meme for a little while if he doesn't watch stuff. But yeah, that was good. I was happy I did make this reaction video. It was nearly 3 hours. Good use of my evening, I'd say. Why not? Sure. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Yo, peace.